Hello everyone, today I'm gonna show you how to make a very basic web server. And in this tutorial we will not use the most sophisticated ways. Instead we will use a very simple way to achieve this, to make it more easy to understand. So let's get started by create a new project. Create a Windows Form application. Let's name it basic web server. Tutorials. Hit OK. So we're gonna start by designing our interface, our user interface. Let's change form title. Select the form and hit properties. Can Kansas basic server. Okay, let's add some controls. We need a group box, button, and a text box. Also we could use a label to indicate server state. Make it a little bigger. Okay, we add a button here, make it a little larger. Okay, could use two labels, one for a title, another for a state, or three actually. Server state, another blank one, one for label, font size maybe 15, server control, let's rename this server state label. This will need it to be multi-line to work as a console. Line. Server log. Logger text. This start button. Another one for exit or termination. And maybe you could use one for settings. Okay, we should be fine now. Let's see if it looks fine. Okay, not bad. Can just make it to start screen center. Rename this main panel. It's just a habit, you don't need to rename it. I like to make things more relevant. Let's create a new class. Add class server dot cs. Add some namespaces using system.net, using system.net sockets. Okay, we need a few properties for our class, like server socket 1, backlog, and port we're gonna use. So let's make socket server socket, and enter 1 for the port. Would use a default of 99. And backlog, we'll see what this backlog later. 5 constructor server okay, initiate our server socket on the construction equal to new socket, address family, enter network, socket type stream protocol TCP. Okay, we need another method for starting our server. Public void start. So let's bind an endpoint. Endpoint is the point that clients will connect to, which consists of two things. First thing is IP, second thing is the port. So let's say server socket dot bind new IP endpoint, IP address, we'll bind it to any address, and support to the port we declared here. Now we need to start listening. Server socket listen. We need here to specify the backlog. Backlog is the pending connections that we will refuse more connections after reaching that limit. Like if we had 5 connections in the pending, then the 6th connection will be refused. So let's make it, for example, 5 as we declared above. Next we're gonna need to start accepting connections to server, but I would prefer to make it in another method, so since we're gonna use it more, so we don't need to repeat ourselves. So let's create an accept method. Server socket dot begin accept. Begin accept need 2 parameters. First one is async callback, A sync callback is the callback of the method that our server we gonna call whenever we get a new connection. And object state is any object you wanna pass to the callback. In this case we don't need to pass anything, so we will use a null instead. So let's create a new sync callback. Let's name it accept callback, and we'll pass null here. Don't need to pass anything. Okay, we don't have this exist. Little tip with Visual Studio, you could use control and dot and hit generate. It will generate it for you. Okay, now we need to get a log whenever any connection we issued to our server. So we need to pass a text to be added here. So we need a method here in our form to accept strings and show it right there. View code, public void add log. We accept just one string message. Okay, we could simply do something like logger text dot text plus equal or append operation message. But this is not static, so we need to pass an object or an instance from this class to this class. So here we're gonna accept an instance of main panel. Could call it context. It's relevant to Android. They use context a lot. So main panel context equal null by default, and here we set it context equal context. Okay, we're gonna see a problem here. Let's see it in action. Let's say context dot add log new message. We're gonna get an error. Let's see. We didn't initiate this yet, so let's start by this start button. Start. And also we need to create an object from server on form load. So server object equal to null, server object equal to new server, and we pass this, and on start button we call the start method server object start. Okay, we run it, we start, we get this alert for the first time since we need to open a port and accept connections, so we allow it. Okay, let's try to connect to it. We use the loopback IP 99. We got nothing here. So listen. Oh, sorry. We need to call accept here to start accepting clients. So accept, start again. Okay, we got an exception, invalid operation. This happens usually since we call in another thread of the threads that we called here, so we need to unite the threads. That's why we need to make something called method invoker here. We do it that way. So this dot invoke. We use invoke method to ensure that this code is invoked in the same thread that panel created in. So method invoker, let's make a delegate. Okay, any code we type here will be invoked using the same threads that used to create this panel. So then we use logger text equal plus equal message. Now we start, check again. Okay, now we know it works fairly well. Let's continue here. Okay, this method will be called only when a client has issued a connection to our server, so we need to handle the accept operation here. So first we need to end accepting with that client, like AR the async result. First we need to end it with the server socket. We tell the server to end accepting, end accept. Yeah, it needs an async result, so we'll pass what we get there. Well, this method will return another socket, which is the client socket. So we could take care of this. Socket client equal to server socket end accept. Then we could use the help of a list to save all clients. So let's create a list of sockets and call it clients equal to new list clients and client. Now after we accepted this client, we need to begin receiving the request from the client. So we're gonna make client begin receive. Okay, to begin receiving we need to pass a buffer, a byte buffer or a byte array that will hold all the bytes that's sent from the client to our server. So let's create a buffer, byte array buffer equal to new byte. We should make it big enough to handle most requests. So 1024 is reasonable. So we'll pass it here, buffer. We need to tell the offset, which byte will start at, and the maximum length. So buffer length. Then if we have any socket flags, we don't, so none. And again an async callback, which will be called when we received all the data we need from the client. So new async callback receive callback. Also an object which called state. In the previous we send a null because we don't have anything to pass to next callback, but this time we're gonna pass the client to handle it. So we're gonna pass the client. Actually you can pass any type of objects, no restriction. Let's create this callback. But before we work on this callback, here we accepted a client, we ended the accept, so we won't accept any more clients because we call the end accept on the server socket itself, not the client. So we need to re-accept now. That's why we need to call this method we created here. So let's accept more clients. Here we need to get at receiving. After receiving the data or request from the client, we gonna have this method run. So we need to get the client back, the client socket back, and we already pass it here as a state. So how we get that object we passed here? We simply let's create a variable equal to casted socket ar dot async state. Whatever you pass here is gonna be available to the async state. So we get our client. We need to end receiving to terminate the request. So client dot end receive. We need to pass the result we get. So result, this will return an integer. This integer indicates the size of bytes we received. We need this for later use. So int size equal to client end receive. Then we need to trim this buffer since the request is passed as in this buffer, but there is could be some empty elements with this array, so we need to trim it to the size. So we need to use array copy method. But first let's create a new buffer with the actual real size. So byte received bytes equal to new byte at the size array copy. We need to pass the source, then destination and length. The source is the buffer, destination is received bytes, the one that we newly created, and the length we already know it here. So source is buffer, received bytes, and length is size. Now let's show this to our log to see if it's work. So let's first convert this byte to a string data equal to encoding ASCII get string of received bytes. Now we have that bytes array converted to a string. Let's log it. Context dot add log data. Okay, let's try this out. Start server. Let's make a request. And yeah, we got the request here. It's an HTTP request. Get slash HTTP 1.1. How it works. We need to reply to this request and also terminate the connection we get to end this loading thing. Okay, we exit. How we could reply to it? Easy, we could send a simple response by doing client begin send. Okay, we need to pass our data that we wanna send as a byte array and offset, which will be 0, size, flags, send callback, which will be called whenever we our data are sent, and if we want to pass any state or any object. So let's first create our response. String response equal to h1. It's an HTML tag that Chrome or any browser can render. Hello from server in the tag. We need to convert it to a byte array. Byte res bytes equal to encoding ASCII dot get bytes of response. Then we start sending this by calling begin send on the client socket. So begin send, pass that buffer with bytes, offset of 0, size of the same size, response byte length, socket flags, we don't need any socket flags, send callback, send callback, we'll pass the client again. Okay, create this callback. Okay, let's try this. Start the server. Okay, we get a response here. If we show the source code, okay, will work. This is still loading, so we need to terminate that connection after sending our data. So let's exit. We need to handle that exit button, but first let's grab our client again like we did last time. So socket client equal to socket cast ar async state client shutdown, socket shutdown send. We need to shut down the send, not the receive, since the user can receive more. Okay, let's try. So start, reload. Okay, we get a response, connection terminated. If we try to get the source, here is the HTML message we sent. Okay, now let's handle that exit button. So on exit button we do application exit. Yeah, it works. So this is for the first part of our tutorial. We learned how to create server sockets and get accept connections, how we handle that connections we get, how we receive the request, how we show it and convert it to a readable string. And last thing, we learned how to respond to that request. Next tutorial, next part, we're gonna try to make a more reasonable responses by sending HTML files, PHP, or whatever the user asked for, or whatever the request is for. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.